So for this episode, we're fishing in the Jacksonville marsh, targeting redfish. We had Captain Jake Bates and Gabe Lefebvre on the boat, guiding us through the marsh and showing us what they have to offer. Part of the most memorable thing about this area was just how diverse it really was. I had never known that in one day we could catch redfish in the marsh, tarpon on the jetty, flounders in the inlet, and sharks out on the shrimp boats. After fishing this area, I've walked away with an honest respect for just how incredibly open the possibilities are in the Jacksonville area. My name is Captain Sam Atwell, and this is Florida Sportsman Watermen. What's the plan for today?
We're gonna go try to see if we can get on some school reds pretty early, and then we'll go out and see maybe if we can pop a tarpon.
Cool. It's a pleasure to get back here because it's just so beautiful. You know what I mean? It really is so much more different.
Oh, it's totally different than South Florida,
Yeah.
Totally different than South Florida. And, you know, I mean, pretty much everything's different about it. I mean, tide's huge, you know, compared to y'all. We have 6-foot tides where we're going on average, you know. And then, you know, having the marsh, no buildings around, it's just totally different. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of soft, like pluff mud, not a lot of hard bottom. You know, you get out into these Spartina marshes and you have like the floodplains, flood flats, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So it makes it really unique. You know, it kind of models everything that goes on in that Savannah all the way up to Charleston. You know, it's the same kind of ecosystem.
Low country.
Low country.
It is a low country, right?
So it's really pretty, super unique. I mean, a lot of times when you think of Florida fishing, you don't think about it, you know, this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, so.
What do you, like in terms of inshore species, what would you guys, look at the roseate spoonbills right there.
Spoonies.
Wow. Like when you consider this area, when you go out and guide, what are you trying to target in here? Like what's your bread and butter?
Primarily redfish. You know,
Okay.
we have a really good red fishery. I know there's a lot of redfish all over the state, but I'd say this is one of the better areas, you know, in the state to target redfish. Mm-hmm. You know, so there's a lot of redfish. We also get a lot of trout, flounder, sheep's head, black drum, but for the most part, you know, when you're looking at sight fishing, redfish, you can't beat them. You know, they get up the tail, they back, they do crazy stuff. So it's our go-to right there.
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, just like I said, because it is so much different than everywhere else. Would you say the best way to figure out this area is to go out on a dead low tide when you can see the bars and you can see
the incoming tide? Yeah, I tell people, you know, clients, I take it easy if you don't have a chip, you know, like Florida Marine Tracks or Navionics. Take it easy and go at an incoming tide so you can't get stuck. Okay. And so you can, you know, I like when I'm going and looking for new fish, I go at, you know, a low tide and find them bunched up, schooled up in the back of creeks or pockets, and, you know, follow them up all the way to the grass at high tide. But that's the best way to find fish in our area, is to find them at low tide.
Because then you figure out where they are, you see them, right?
Exactly.
You see them
you can
visually.
have eyes on them. Right. And then even if you can't see them the whole time, you kind of, you know, you can see some fishy areas, like, all right, you know, there's probably gonna be a fish there or something at high tide. You know, even if you can't always see them at high tide, but you know, you get some clean water, you can see them and stuff like that.
You'll save your boat a little bit finding out where the bars and stuff. I mean, there's so much structure around here to hit, you know, on the low tides. So when you can go out at a dead low or even a negative low, kind of figure out where your deeper channels are.
And you would say that, like, you know, part of the conservation that I would like to discuss, and I mean, I'm going to go off of what you guys see, because you guys spend a lot of time out on the water here, but it's certainly surrounding the marsh area in regards to the oyster bars, the grass, and when I look around right here, I don't see, I mean, there's a power plant over here that I remember, but there's no development over here where we are, right? I mean, there's very, very little considering how much waterfront area you guys have. There's no condominiums, no townhouses, there's no, you know what I mean? And that's a lot of good, you know, that's for the marsh.
Right, and and that's kind of one thing that's good about this area is it's really hard to develop on this type of land, super soft sediment. You know, so that's one thing that actually kind of saves the marsh. And like we were talking about earlier, you know, one thing that can help conserve our water quality too, in comparison to like South Florida, is these huge tidal swings. You know, we got 6 feet of water. It's a ton of water moving that can filter out, you know, any of the bad sediment or anything like that, and give you new, good water every tide cycle. So it keeps it fresh. We have so many oysters around here too that help the water quality. You know, so there's a lot of factors that kind of help with that.
And the oysters, like for everybody that doesn't realize, the oysters is almost similar to our situation down south with the grasses, right? And filtering the water and cleaning the water, and the oysters are directly related to that. So I'm sure on days during the winter and things, you guys will find nice clear water around those bars. You know, that hard bottom, and the fish are around there eating little crabs and
yeah, they're multi-purpose. I mean, they serve as a habitat for you know, a lot of the bait that the fish are eating. You know, and they help build that ecosystem, but they also filter feed, make the water clean. You know, where that water eddies around when you have a tide moving past an oyster, you'll find a lot of times on that backside of those big oyster bars, it's a lot cleaner water. It's just filtered out that sediment.
I'm excited to fish here, guys. I can't wait.
Yeah, man.
Let's do it.
All right.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Get moving up north.
This segment is brought to you by PENN. Let the battle begin.
The new Spin Fisher 6, the strongest spin fisher in a line of legendary spinning reels. And our proprietary CNC gearing is precision cut from brass and aluminum to create a gear system that's smooth out of the box and durable over the lifetime of the reel. Sealed from top to bottom to improve IPX5 standards, the new Spin Fisher 6 can be sprayed and splashed from all directions and still won't allow water into the gearbox or drag system.
That reel did the job there. We're following the shrimp boats. It's a pretty good opportunity to find, you know, sharks, a lot of black tips, big black tips, and a tarpon occasionally. I like to fish the shallower, you know, the shallower shrimp boats like this. We were out on one that was about 40 feet, and this one's about 20, 25 feet. These are going to be where you're going to find the tarpon more often than the deeper ones.
So why are these fish following this boat though?
So a lot of the time it's just because of the bycatch that these guys are going to be throwing out of their nets. And I mean, these sharks and tarpon are so keyed into these shrimp boats, they'll follow them even without a net out sometimes.
Really? Because they like the sound of the motors and everything?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. They just know that, that there's going to be a free meal eventually.
Right.
You know, so once these guys dump, you'll see a lot of the birds start diving, a lot of the sharks kind of going crazy. And behind that, trailing them is you know, where you'll find the rolling tarpon.
Right.
That you can kind of sight fish. They'll be up on top of the water for 3 or 4 seconds, and you can get a cast to them. So right now isn't really the best time to be fishing for them when they have their nets out.
But it's such a cool thing. I mean, it's so unique.
Right.
You know?
Yep. Absolutely. I mean, it's awesome because, you know, you really don't know what you're going to catch. What you're going to catch.
Sure.
There's situations where you can sight fish for them, but you know, when you're in 25 feet of water, these fish dive down and come back up so regularly that it can be kind of hard to target a specific fish. But it's a great move for a day like today where, you know, you don't want to go offshore because it's too rough.
That's right.
Or the tide's not any good inside.
Sure.
It gives you something to do off the beach, and you know, it's any type of tug, like a 150-pound shark.
Typically, everything out here is going to be of the bigger variety.
It's going to be a big fish, right? So whatever you catch is going to be big. If it's a tarpon behind it, usually it's going to be a big tarpon. If it's a shark, they're going to be, you know, 4 all the way up to 6, 7 foot sharks, which is like the perfect size to catch on one of these rigs.
All right, well, let's fight him. Should air out, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, he's pretty high right now.
Nice job, Gabe.
This is like the perfect size right here.
Yeah. That eat was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, you saw him rise up. Look at this guy right here.
Boat right now. Yeah, I saw him rise up on it. That was
Yep.
pretty cool. That'll pull some drag.
Oh yeah.
You know? Like, clients love this sort of fishing. This
Yeah,
is
dude.
phenomenal. It teaches people a lot.
For sure.
How often do they bring their nets in? Every
It
hour?
seems like every hour or
Every
so,
hour.
yeah. Normally there's so many boats out here, you can kind of pick and choose and
Yeah.
go back and forth.
Yeah. How far out, Gabe, will you find tarpon? Like, with these shrimp boats, they stagger off the beach, but like, how far off the beach will you find, like, is it more the boats that are really tight to the beach? Is it the the boats?
Yeah, I seem to find more tarpon behind these boats on the inshore boats that aren't using planers, that are, in that like 10 to, 25 feet of water range. Out here in 40 feet of water, they're gonna do this a lot. And they're gonna sound on you. So
Right.
even if you do hook up to a tarpon,
He's gonna go up and down.
he's gonna go way down,
right.
so.
Yeah, he's gonna use the depth to his advantage.
Exactly.
Or she is. It's cool doing that. There's not very many places that they come that tight in
Right.
and shrimp, especially during the day. Every shrimp situation I've been in has
Here
been.
he is, right here.
Yep.
It's a pretty good size one.
Yeah, not a bad one. Like you said, fun size. Not
Yeah,
the one that's gonna
exactly.
chew you up, but
Right. Yep, that's the perfect size to catch right there.
Yep.
Because you're out here for an hour on
Right.
anything bigger than
Right.
this,
Right.
so.
So many people, like, guide-wise, hate sharks, but what I've come to realize is that people never get to see them face to face.
Right. If you want to jump in there and get the shot too.
No, I'm all right.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking to Sharky. Yeah, that's a good size right there to catch. Oh, you're good.
You saw your beard, Cameron.
Yeah, he did not like the beard.
Black tip, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Got him off.
Nice job, boys.
Good job,
Yeah,
Gabe.
yeah, buddy.
Stay saver.
That's cool.
This segment is brought to you by Badfish. Captain approved tackle delivered. Florida Sportsman Watermen is sponsored in part by these fine companies.
All right, boys, day 2, you ready?
Oh yeah,
How you feeling?
feeling great. How about you?
Feeling great, looking great.
It's a little lower water, so we're at a much better part of the tide than we were yesterday when we started fishing.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, baby, get him. Get him.
Let me toss that. It's a red bass, right?
It's a shark. It's a shark.
Oh, arch enemy.
Whoa. I see red.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah, good fish.
Target species. You said they would be here. It's almost like you do this for a living.
Yeah.
Well done, man. Well done.
Yeah, we were a little late on the tide, but I knew we could get one.
What? What?
Beautiful fish.
Dude,
Yeah, that's a good
I
one.
think like 26.
really solid fish. Look at the spot.
Wow. Lit up.
More up in the middle of them. Yeah, I think what's probably most interesting about this area is just how many different types of habitats you guys have. You know what I mean? In terms of, like, you can fish flounder in those deeper channels, come up here, fish the bars. Everything looks so much different than the next thing.
For sure. For sure, yeah. It's a wide variety of fishing opportunities and sightseeing too.
What keeps it interesting, it's not so monotonous. It's not like, you're doing the same thing every single time you come out here, looking at the same thing every single time. You don't have to go real technical to catch fish here.
Right,
You know?
right, yeah.
So people can come up and do it themselves in a bigger boat, smaller boat, a skiff, a bay boat. And I guess the most beautiful part is, look at this. There's not a single piece of development anywhere through here. All you see is just natural shorelines. It's like old Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess like the main takeaway is like, it seems like when we really start catching these fish, it's definitely around these oyster bars. There's a need to take care of of the oysters because of that. I mean, if you catch fish next to these things time and time again, it just reiterates the fact that if these bars weren't here, you know, if we dredge these things out or develop over top of those oyster bars, the fishery wouldn't be nearly what it is.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a nursery for, you know, bait fish, shrimp, crab, mullet, these little redfish, mangrove snapper, trout, flounder, everything. I mean, it's a reef in a sense, you know.
That's right. That's right.
Join us for this week's On the Conservation Front as we dive deeper into critical water issues facing the state.
Mike, talk to me a little bit about what's going on in Northeast Florida there in Jacksonville in regards to the marsh, the intercoastal that runs up in there. What are the issues that area has?
Well, you know, Jacksonville is fed by the St. Johns River. It starts at Blue Cypress Lake, near Vero Beach,
Sure.
and it empties out of Mayport. It's a huge, long river, and that is the headwaters of the Jacksonville saltwater fishing.
Okay.
And it's estuarine, very estuarine. Spartina grass is beautiful. I've fished it a good number of times over the years, and it is your typical marsh country back with Spartina grass, a nice mix of fresh and salt, and lots of oysters. Oysters are king in Jacksonville.
The oysters are supplying the small shrimp and crabs. I mean, the shrimp run up in Jacksonville is amazing. You know, it's incredible. And if you take away the oysters,
The bars will erode. If the oysters all die, there's nothing added to it. They will erode in time because of low lakes and
Sure.
storm surges. But wherever you find oysters, I don't care, Northeast Florida, you'll find seagrass nearby because the oysters serve to protect those areas of sediment for seagrass not to get washed up.
It's interesting,
Washed
yeah.
out. So
Never
you'll see
thought about that.
seagrass around oysters. It goes hand in hand.
oftentimes like nestled.
And at low tide, it's time to go up there and really appreciate the monstrous bars that there's at low tide. That's low country.
Sure.
That's almost as impressive oyster-wise as South Carolina and Georgia
Yes, sir.
coastline. It's the same
Absolutely.
kind of coast.
Yeah, and it's really visually appealing. You know, we need to protect that because without that, you lose character. You lose what, you know, everybody wants to go there and see. It's like in South Florida, it's the seagrass. It really is one and the same in terms of.
Yep. The University of Jacksonville is involved in a program out there now where they're trying to get oysters. The restaurants provide the dead shells.
Sure.
And then you make your oyster bags, you bag them, you build the reefs, build new ones, or you add to the existing bars.
So,
you know,
I mean, residents or recreational anglers can get involved in that.
This segment is brought to you by ENGEL. Live Original.
We do a pretty good job up here of taking good care of the land, trying to take care of the water,
Yeah.
keep the fishery, in a good spot.
Yeah, and the marsh. I mean, the grass, it's one of a kind. It really is. This is the only episode that's significantly different than the rest of the ones we've really filmed in terms of the backdrop, the fishery, how we're fishing it, and that's special, man. There's not very many places like that in the state of Florida that you can say are here. So it's important to take care of those things, create an awareness. That's what the show's all about. We're out here trying to just show people that there's a need for that.
Right.
Right.
That's the key.
Hang on, let me get out of the way.
That's a redfish.
Dude, that's a redfish.
Yeah, it's a redfish.
It's going to be a 30 plus. He's on a bar.
Keep it up high.
Good.
Dude, this is it right here.
Yeah, nice
This is
job.
it. We can go home.
Nice job. Good job, bud. So far, so good.
That's a stud,
That
boys.
is a mongo.
That's a stud.
This is what I fish for. This is what I target. I don't necessarily target like slot fish. I target these fish. I call them grandes. They're in that like 30 inch class range.
Good fish, man.
Got some shoulders.
God, that's a bruiser. That eat was wild.
Yeah, it was like a top water.
Hammered it. Came out of the water.
This guy's pissed.
Swing him around, turn his
Good
head.
fish, man.
What do you think about that? Yes.
man.
Boys.
Sweet.
Boys. Tell me a little bit about that rig that you're using.
So it's just a circle hook. It's almost like a jig head. It's a circle hook with an egg weight attached to it. Just like a
Cut bait.
right. Yeah, cut bait. It's kind of what you got to do this time of year to catch fish. It's so hot out.
25 pound, 30 pound leader.
Yeah, exactly, for those bars. You know, sometimes I'll even bump it up to 40 when I do know that there's big fish, a lot of bars.
Thank you. Woo! Yeah.
Yeah.
Got him.
That's why I wanted to come up here.
Dap me up.
Yeah, baby. Woo! Boys, following through.
Heck yeah.
Well done.
Good fish. Good fish.
All right, boys, what do you think?
I had a great time, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate the opportunity. I'm
Fun
glad.
2 days.
Yeah. So I've seen some stuff over the last 2 days that I haven't seen. You know, I fished here before, and it was a pleasure. You know, getting out there. We checked out the shrimp boats, saw what they had to offer. You know, and fish flounder, fish for redfish. The diversity that you guys have in the marsh and in this area is just amazing. You know, it's one of a kind.
Yeah, you got to see pretty much all we have in terms of area here in Jacksonville. Got to do some running for you and find some new stuff. So it's pretty cool.
First of all, the fact that we ended up being successful after having super short notice on this trip. I mean, you guys scrambled to make the trip happen, and I can't thank you guys enough. That means the world to me. And you know, made it happen under less than ideal conditions. I mean, here we are in the doldrums of summer. I mean, this is as hot as it gets
94
here.
degree water.
It's 94 degree water. I mean, you wouldn't think anything would be feeding in that. And you guys definitely made it happen. You guys pulled it out of your hat and were able, you know, early mornings, real early mornings, but we pulled out every stop in the book, right? I mean, you guys know this area.
Yeah, we did just about everything you can do, and that's kind of what you got to do this time of year. Is you gotta check out everything you can and check off all the boxes, and that's how you'll be successful this time of year.
Yeah, leave your options open, right?
Right.
I mean, and your experience paid off. Both of you guys contributed something individually, which was the coolest part. I mean, incorporating different things, bringing different skill sets to the episode. That's what it's all about, dude. Is learning stuff. Every day I go out, I'm learning something about it. You know, something else. And you guys showed me a lot of things that I didn't already know. You know, so it's cool. I appreciate it very much, you guys.
Yeah, man.
You guys are awesome.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Thank you for the opportunity.
I appreciate
really
it.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
We'll do it again.
Yeah,
You know
sounds good.
that.